How hundred children to do? This year the Queen Quet head upon the body of this year Gullah Geechee Nation. 100 children know this year Gullah Geechee TV Gwine On Nayshun Nyews. Well, look here, for Queen Quet Week 2010, we had a special invitation. I had one chance to go to the White House of Washington, D.C. for President Obama's first Great American Outdoors Conference. Now let me explain to you why this is so important. Here in the Gullah Geechee Nation, a lot of our land others see as undeveloped. If they see it as what planners call open space, or as we just call the natural environment, then they tend to say that we don't want anything to do with development, or we don't know how to develop our lands. But actually we're stewards of the land, and we feel that God developed it the way it should be. And many times we feel that we need to keep it as God has it, because as we take care of the earth takes care of us. But many times, if we build over everything, we don't have the same effect as it was when it was natural, when it was open space, when it is undeveloped. And so now you have a lot of people that want to join into this campaign about the great American outdoors, because they realize the value of people going to the outdoors, but going to spaces that still have greenery, that still have fresh water and everything. And this is something that we live to fight for here in the Gullah Geechee Nation. So I want to show some highlights from my beautiful, wonderful opportunity with some exciting people while we are on Capitol Hill, but also I want to show you some highlights of here, my home, in the Gullah Geechee Nation and things like that, up and down the coastline. We want to show you some of the things that are part of we great outdoors, not only for America, but right here in the Gullah Geechee Nation. And Hana children, you know you stick with me. Hana Gwine know this year the work going on. Peace and blessing. Continue to love the earth, and you see how much the earth love Hana.
Upon taking office, Theodore Roosevelt, avid bird watcher, bear hunter, set out on a tour of the American West that would change his life and the life of the nation forever. He stood in awe of the geysers at Yellowstone. He camped in a snow blizzard at Yosemite. He stood on the lip of the Grand Canyon. The ages have been at work on it, he declared. Man can only mar it. From that sense of commitment sprang 5 national parks, 18 national monuments, 51 federal bird reservations, and 150 national forests. Campers spend night in a national park, and sportsmen track game through the woods or wade deep into a river. It's a recognition passed down from one generation to the next, that few pursuits are more satisfying to the spirit than discovering the greatness of America's outdoors. And when we see America's land, we understand what an incredible bounty that we have been given. And it's our obligation to make sure that the next generation enjoys that same bounty. That recognition has been a touchstone of this presidency, thanks to the outstanding leadership of Ken Salazar and Secretary Bill Sack and Lisa Jackson and Nancy Sutley. They have done extraordinary work. Last year I signed into law a public lands bill, the most significant in decades, that designated 2 million acres of wilderness, over 1,000 miles of wild and scenic rivers, and 3 national parks. We better protected, cherished places like Oregon's Mount Hood. We're taking a new approach to our national forests to make sure they're not just providing timber for lumber companies, but water and jobs for rural communities. We are restoring our rivers and coasts, from the Chesapeake Bay to the Gulf Coast, from the Great Lakes to the Everglades. So yes, we are working faithfully to carry on the legacy of Teddy Roosevelt in the 21st century. But we also know that we must adapt our strategies to meet the new challenges of our time. Members of this administration will host regional listening sessions across America. We'll meet with everybody, from tribal leaders to farmers, from young people to business people, from elected officials to recreation and conservation groups. Their ideas will help us form a 21st century strategy for America's great outdoors to better protect our natural landscape and our history for generations to come. Understand, we're not talking about a big federal agenda being driven out of Washington. We're talking about how we can collect best ideas on conservation, how we can pursue good ideas that local communities embrace, and how we can be more responsible stewards of tax dollars to promote conservation. First, we're going to build on successful conservation efforts being spearheaded outside of Washington by local and state governments, by tribes, and by private groups. So we can write a new chapter in the protection of rivers, wildlife habitats, historic sites, and the great landscapes of our country. Secondly, we're going to help farmers, ranchers, property owners who want to protect their lands for their children and their grandchildren. Third, we'll help families spend more time outdoors, building on what the First Lady has done through the Let's Move initiative, to encourage young people to hike and bike and get outside more often. And fourth, we want to foster a new generation of community and urban parks so that children across America have the chance to experience places like Millennium Park in my own Chicago. We're launching this strategy because it's the right thing to do. Because as TR said, we must not mar the work of the ages. But we're also doing it because it's the right thing to do for our economy. It's how we're going to spur job creation in the tourism industry and the recreation industry. It's how we'll create jobs preserving and maintaining our forests, our rivers, our great outdoors. In a time of great difficulty, when we are recovering from the worst recession in generations and waging 2 wars abroad, some may ask whether now's the time to reaffirm our commitment to our national heritage. But I want everybody to recall, it was in the midst of the Civil War that Abraham Lincoln set aside lands that are now Yosemite. It was in the midst of a Great Depression that FDR formed the Civilian Conservation Force that built the trails, campgrounds, and parks we enjoy today. Even in times of crisis, we're called to take the long view, to preserve our national heritage. Because in doing so, we fulfill one of the responsibilities that falls to all of us as Americans and as inhabitants of this same small planet. And that is a responsibility that we are rising to meet today. So thank you all for the outstanding work that you're doing individually. I look forward to the work that you're going to be doing collectively and advising this administration. Thank you. God bless you. God bless the United States of America.